that is also, I guess it's not NIL, it's more so like what modern college football is. USC, after 3 games, deciding to redshirt. At UNLV, obviously, starting quarterback and running back, I believe, after 3 games, 3-0, decide that they are going to transfer, utilize this redshirt year. It's like a business play. Quarterback said he was verbally promised $100,000 from an assistant coach. That never happened. They get $3,000. Allegedly, they were like, "Hey, what about that $100,000?" They said that ain't how this goes. They just got a couple million. They're undefeated. Could you give them $97,000 because somebody promised it? Did the person promise it? How was it? All this shit. Okay, it's currently happening right now. How do you feel about it? And what are your kind of thoughts on it?
I think we saw a bunch of players, right, like Florida State last year, right? They don't get into the playoff, and what happened with all their guys?
They didn't play. See ya.
They didn't play. And I don't know how you could be in a locker room with a bunch of teammates, that brotherhood. That's all we ever talk about, right, is having each other's back. It's a brotherhood. But as soon as the money's not there, as soon as we don't make the playoff, oh, hell no. I ain't playing. I ain't risking my future on this, that. Hey, fine. You know what you signed up for. I like JB's take on it. Coach JB, he had a really good take on it.
Okay, I can already hear it in my head. I can already hear it in my head.
Can you hear it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He went completely off, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. All the players not playing in bowls last year, and now something like this happens, and this guy thinks, okay, I put 3 games out there. I've got enough film on tape. These guys, promised me whatever. If that's like his motivation, the end-all be-all for that situation, or maybe it's like, okay, because they're already saying, like, next year he'll get 500. Or he'll get 750. He'll get whatever.
But
he's
that
got
also
enough good tape out there.
Now, to be clear, in the current environment, that might be the most money he ever gets to play football, right? That might be like the biggest option. And the $100,000, I believe now everything's alleged. Who knows? He said, coach said, this said. Everything, that was kind of being talked about is the $100,000 was a big part of him going there. That is the reason why he chose that school. There was a couple other schools. So, like, in his eyes and his family's eyes, it seems like if they were involved in the decision, that $100,000 was definitely coming.
Yeah.
And then now it's not, and they're off to a 3-0 start. You could see where they would be like, well, we have to take a stand for every college football player that's potentially in this situation. And it's like, my takeaway on all of this is like, we need to figure this shit out quicker.
Guardrails, right?
We need this salary cap thing that they're thinking about creating for D1 teams. And the amount of money they'll have, it's like 22% is something, which is what people are projecting to be about $20 million per team. Then 70%, I forget the actual percentages, are going to football and basketball, and then other money spread out. But you can dig in to the other money to spread it out over the place. But everybody's projecting about $14 million to $15 million being able to be used for college football, if that's how it's kind of spread out. So then whenever that starts happening, at least the university is in charge of the money. So at least if it doesn't get paid, you know who.
Yeah.
You know who you can go after. Because now it's the assistant coach. Well, who's the assistant coach potentially talking about? Well, he's talking about a donor. He's talking about a collective. He's talking about this person. He's talking about the local person. So there's no real, you can't really get to the.
Just finger point.
You can't, everything is just whatever. So I think that needs to happen sooner than later. Because obviously on the quarterback side,
Matthew Sluka.
Sluka, great name. He feels like he's probably taking a stand both for himself and for a lot of college football players that are in this situation. They're probably too embarrassed to say that they got bamboozled, okay, which is probably happening at a pretty rapid rate. And then the team, if I'm his teammate, I'm like, yo, come on, man. 3-0, middle of the season, we're doing this.
Well,
but I guess you just think about the business side now if you're in college, just like the NFL guys do whenever people hold out. It's a loud scene. This is a loud thing that is potentially the breaking point for the NIL shit to get settled.
Are these all handshakes?
I think so, yeah.
This one was.
Good, sounds
or do
like.
they have a contract? Do you have a contract?
You would think the bigger teams with the bigger collectives.
I assume they have.
They have a process and probably not like the big deals.
Most schools got to have contracts, right, Tone?
Yes.
Most schools, I would imagine,
does that
have
matter? Does some of the schools?
Yeah, exactly. If you go back, like if you don't fulfill the contract, who do you go after? Like the
And what's
assistant
in there?
coach, the collective. What happened?
Yeah, how many clauses are in these contracts? How many pages are there?
Yeah, and now the UNLV running back, he's also doing the same thing, right? He's taking a red shirt.
Yeah, he had like 20, 25 carries. I think he was like third on the team in rushing or whatever. Yeah, he's leaving. But it wasn't just them. Like And I didn't realize it until yesterday. Like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense because I think it's 4 games now. You give up your red shirt. So after 3 games, like Bear Alexander from USC decided he wasn't going to do it. Other guys do it.
He's staying at USC though. He said that he wasn't playing enough. Feels like it's a wasted year with the amount of playing time that he's currently having. So he's making a decision. It's like that was never the case in the past. Players were never deciding when they were redshirting. It was kind of happening.
Yeah.
that was kind of.
So now he practices the rest of the year like a redshirt, and he just goes and runs scout team. Is that what he does?
And then what if Lincoln Riley says,
No way.
"What about playing?"
Yeah, how's that work? Like most of them will say, "I'm in a redshirt and enter the portal whenever it opens." Right?
Yeah. What if they get an injury to D-line second to last game?
They need him.
Yeah.
There's 2 games left. We could potentially go.
And they've won.
Yeah. Win the Big
That's
Ten.
a real situation.
And who's USC got last week? It's a big one. Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, yeah.
Notre Dame could be a big one. Could be a big one.
Absolutely.
It's like, what if that happens? How does that work? Because that would be modern day versus literally every other time that college football has existed. You know? And it's like, there was even conversations back in the day about, oh, he blew his red shirt, but we needed him.
Yeah.
Like, that just used to be how it was. Now it's the complete opposite. It's like, you know what, you guys blew this year for me. I'm taking it.
I'm a red shirt.
I'm taking a red shirt. It's like, wow, that's all. It's a complete flip. It is a complete 180. Shout out to the players, I guess, having all the power and the empowerment, but also there's going to be ripple effects to this, that are kind of that you don't really expect or whatever.
Well, that's why, like, I assume that was also a big deal with the transfer portal. Why they want to get, because like I feel like that's going to happen a lot. Guys are going to transfer, they're going to go somewhere, and they're going to be a third string guy, and then 3 games. A never-ending cycle of, and then what happens if you go to a place where if you're playing D-line, you got 2 guys ahead of you get hurt, and it's like, hey, you're in line to play meaningful snaps. Like that is not a good precedent, and that really worries me for a lot of schools.
Yeah, how about the education that is seemingly taking place to these players too, from whoever's representing them, like them knowing, like, hey, got to make a decision here about 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Do we think we're getting enough playing time this year? What do we think? We take this year off. We take a red shirt, get a little stronger, faster. We probably come back next year. 150,000 already being available at this place. What do you think? You want to sleep on it? So you got 2 weeks. You got about 2 weeks. Got about 2 weeks. You let me know. And then, all right, we've played 3 games now, because that could come like week 7 for some of these players. They could, their third game could be week 8, week 9, week 10, whoever. And then like that's a number that every player has in their head now. Like, how do we feel about how this year went? What do we think? We're going to extend another year? We're going to do an 8-year plan
So it's
here?
not the first 3 weeks. It's 3 games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to happen throughout the year.
Lord.
Yeah, I did not expect this, to be clear.
No.
This kind of came out of nowhere. Whenever I saw it, and I saw another one, and I saw a different school, I'm like, oh, this is a new kind of utilization of the red shirt, where it's like, actually, I'm going to play the red shirt card. And it's like, well, we don't want you to play the red shirt card. It's right here.
Too bad.
I haven't.
Sorry about it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Do you guys feel like with this money, the TV money, the $20 million, I guess that's the number, right?
For total sports.
Yeah. So once they decide to divvy that up, the dissension that's going to be within the programs.
Oh, every college.
Like who they decide in Title IX, how much do we have to give to women's sports, and then why are these guys getting? And
That'll be school by school, right, Chuck?
Yeah.
Will that be school by school deciding who get what sports get?
To me,
Yes.
I would like one governing body, like whoever that guy, who's that guy that's going to be the commissioner of the NCAA?
So
Like
right
we
now,
got- like
the president
we got Rod,
is Charlie
right?
Baker. So right now it's Charlie Baker. Is the
So
president.
to me, if I'm at a university, I'm going to want Charlie Baker or some outside entity to say, okay, you guys
decide.
guys decide for us.